there was a well-read and learned Brahman who was very proud of his learning. He would look upon illiterates as worthless creatures. In his opinion, the lives of the tillers of land, hewers of wood, and drawers of water, and even the various types of artisans and other servants of society were quite wasted. One day, this learned man had to cross a river. He got into a ferry. The ferryman waited for some time to see if anybody else would come along, and then started crossing the river with the Brahman alone. As the ferry crossed to the other side, the Brahman looked at the ferryman straining at the oars and was filled with pity as well as contempt. This unfortunate fellow must have been doing this work practically all his life, nearly all the day round. There was no learning in him whatsoever. "My good man," said the Brahman condescendingly to the ferryman, "you are so good as dead." "Sir, why do you say that?" said the ferryman in surprise. "Have you learnt the sciences?" asked the learned Brahman. "No, sir, I know them not," said the ferryman. "Ah, then you are half dead," said the Brahman triumphantly. "Have you learnt any Puranas?" The Brahman asked. "No, sir, indeed, I didn't," replied the ferryman. "I am too busy on this job to spare any time for listening to Puranas." "There you are. You are 3/4 dead. Let us see if you read, at least, some literature," said the Brahman. "Oh, sir, I do not know how to read at all, leave alone literature," the ferryman replied. "See what I mean. You are only about 10% alive. You can be hardly called alive," the Brahman concluded. Even as they were chatting like this, there rose up a mighty wind, and the waters of the river rose in a flood. The ferry began to toss about on huge waves. The sky was overcast with dark and fearsome clouds, and it began to rain in torrents. As the ferry crossed to the other side, the Brahman looked at the ferryman straining at the oars, and was filled with pity as well as contempt. Soon the ferryman lost control of the ferry. Every time the ferry tilted to a side, it began to take in some water. The ferryman threw down the oars, which were now quite useless. Having decided to abandon the ferry, he shouted to the Brahman in the gale, "Sir, do you know how to swim?" "No, my good man," replied the Brahman, "I do not." "Then, sir, I must tell you that your life is completely lost," said the ferryman as he jumped into the waters and swam away towards the shore.